Here's my plan of how I expect to become a tax-free millionaire by the time I'm 50 years old. I will be reaching this goal by investing my money through the use of a Roth IRA. So let's get started by talking about what a Roth IRA actually is and how I can invest my money to grow to a lot more than I actually contribute to this account. The federal government created the Roth IRA as a way to incentivize us to save for retirement. The Roth IRA is a way for us to grow our money significantly faster than if we were to invest it in a normal brokerage account. As of 2021 and 2022, we are able to contribute $6,000 annually into our account, and if you have a spouse, then you can also contribute $6,000 to your spouse's account, equaling $12,000 for each calendar year. If you happen to be 50 years old or older, then you can contribute an additional $1,000 into each account, so $7,000 per individual. But because I'm not 50 years old, I will just be focusing on the $6,000 a year per account. The money that you put into the Roth IRA has already been taxed at your income tax rate, so you won't be getting any tax advantages up front, but the real savings comes in when you grow your money. That is completely not taxed at all, but in a normal brokerage account, you will be taxed on those gains. And when you take the money out of the Roth IRA, when you become old enough to retire, then when you hit 59 and a half years old, you can withdraw that money penalty and tax free. Normally in an ordinary account, you will be taxed as soon as you take the gains and you sell some of whatever investments that you made. You'll be taxed at the capital gains rate, but in a Roth IRA, you will not be taxed on those gains at all. That is just a very simple overview about what a Roth IRA actually is. But if you are curious about a full breakdown of a Roth IRA, how to set up an account and all that, please give the video a like so that I know that you enjoy this type of video and you want more of them. Before I go any further, I should also note that I'm not a tax professional. Just know that I'm just some guy that's done a lot of research and is really passionate about investments. What I really want to focus on is the $6,000 a year for each account that you can invest in. For those of you who know anything about compound interest, you know that this is a significant amount of money to invest every single year. But if you don't know anything about compound interest, that's okay. This video is still for you because I will be trying to break it down in simple terms as possible to make sure that everybody understands me clearly. Moving into how to actually set up your Roth IRA, I'll just be going over a little bit of basic information. What I use for my Roth IRA is Fidelity, but there are many other resources to use and set up a Roth IRA through them, like Vanguard or M1 Finance. There are just a ton of resources out there, so if you want to do your research, do that, but just know that I'm using Fidelity and I continue to use them, and I probably will for the foreseeable future. So the Roth IRA isn't an investment within itself. If you just put $6,000 into your Roth IRA and you expect it to grow, well, that's just not going to happen. You have to actually invest within a Roth IRA by buying things like stocks or ETFs, mutual funds, even cryptocurrency probably in the future. And so by investing in these things, this is what's actually going to grow your money. What I'm really focused on in this stage of my life is really investing into funds that track the overall progress of the stock market. So for me, I am heavily invested into Fidelity's fund that tracks the S&P 500. This fund has the symbol FXAIX, and what this does is it tracks the S&P 500, and that just has a collection of all of the 500 top companies in the United States, and I'm just really focused on tracking their progress and not trying to beat the market by investing in individual stocks. I do have other smaller holdings in some funds that I do expect to beat the market slightly, by investing into things that are heavily information technology based, but I don't have most of my money in there. I'm just really focused on getting the average rate of return for the market. The average rate of return for the market is around 10% historically. This is about what people can expect to make in the future if they are just trying to get the average market returns. Now, of course, history doesn't exactly work out well when trying to predict the future, but I do think looking at history and seeing the very steady growth of the stock market over time, it just looks like it's going to continue that way. And if it completely collapses, then we have a bigger problem on our hands than just the money that's in our Roth IRA. Now that we're using about a 10% annual rate of return as a benchmark of what we can expect, I am actually going to have a more conservative estimate of what my investments can make, just because I want to be sure that I'm using realistic numbers and I am not just overhyping what I expect to do in the future. Next, I went to a great website called calculator.net and I went to the investment calculator and I just wanted to see what it would be like if I just input a couple numbers to find out what my actual number would be after investing for a certain amount of years. So in this example, like I said, we are going to be using 8% as the rate of return that we can expect to make in the market, even though people often say that you can make more than 8% by investing in the same things that I'm investing in. Next, I will be looking at making a $12,000 a year annual contribution to this Roth IRA account. And yes, this is a lot of money. $12,000 a year is a lot. And if you can't do that, that is okay. Just do what you can. You can even invest as little as like $5. But because I am married, I am able to put $6,000 in my account and $6,000 into my wife's account. And that equals $12,000 of annual contributions to our Roth IRAs. I have selected that we would make this contribution at the beginning of each year. So that means saving up $12,000. And then once the new calendar year starts, then we're going to be putting all of those $12,000 into that account. And if we have done well in the past year, saving up enough money to put into that account, then we will have enough money to put all of it in January. The next thing I did was to just see the very first year where these accounts will actually break over $1 million for the first time. And what I found is after just roughly 26 years after opening this account, we will have made over $1 million. As you can see from the chart, it shows that we have contributed just over $300,000 to this account over 26 years. And the rest of that money is just coming from reinvesting back into those funds that we have already been investing in. And the interest over time has earned us over $700,000. So a lot more than 50% of that money wasn't actually ours to begin with, but because we were invested into these companies, it's actually grown into more than $1 million. And again, this is starting from $0. But I will say that we've actually got a jump start on this. We actually started doing this 2 years ago. The first year actually happened in 2020. And so we've contributed $12,000 in 2020 and 2021. And so we have a total of $24,000. After having that money in our account for just under 2 years, we have already seen gains of more than $6,000. And so that $24,000 has already grown into more than $30,000. That is a great start. And now that we're 2 years into that 26-year period, I can comfortably say that by 50 years old, if we continue to contribute $6,000 into each of our accounts for the next 24 years, we will reach over $1 million before the time that we are 50 years old. I just wanted to show you what could happen if you have a goal and you actually stick to it. This calculator is showing us that if we stick to the goal that we set out for ourselves, then we can accomplish something amazing that we couldn't do unless we used this account to start using our money and investing it wisely. This is definitely great news for me, and it is great news for you because you can start right now and you can start investing and making as much money as possible in the stock market. Of course, the returns are not guaranteed, and I will never say that this is definitely going to happen 100% like it's showing on the chart, but just wanted to show you what was possible so you could get started as soon as you can. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found the video helpful, please give it a like. And if you want to see more of my content, please subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.